Hey folks, you're back with Easy Jeezy, and we're going to do part 2 of my or 3. I'm not sure how this worked out. While you were gone, I was finishing up fitting that oil flow, and I kept hearing this thump on the side of the garage door. So I opened it up, and that frog hopped in. I think he wants to get out of the cold. The wind's blowing out there. Kind of a foul day. And, so I don't know. I've never heard of anybody getting bit by a frog, so I thought I'd just let him hang out for a while. He looks like he needs to warm up. So anyhow, let me show you where I'm at here. Been working my tail off for you guys. My battery went dead. I ran out of memory. It went to internal memory, so I'm still on that learning curve, and we're going to get through this just dandy here. So I got cords, extra stuff plugged in all over the place. So let's stay on track. Oh, you guys are going to hate me for this. Do you hear that sound? My heater just kicked on. Yeah, I got a heated garage. Okay, so where are we at here? Alright. So we drilled and we tapped our hole. I'm not going to go over that again. And we drilled, or we didn't have to drill, but we tapped and plugged the hole in the oil pump as well. Now I see some flecks of material here that I don't like, but that's okay. I'll get it out. This thing's going to be split and taken apart several more times. It's going to be more cleaning before it goes together. We're just getting stuff together for final assembly here in the next couple of days. So what we got is just tighten up that 90 a little bit too much for my hands. Okay, and that's what we want. We wanted it snug. This is not final tightening, but I was fitting it, and I guess I need to move that camera. Oh man, everything's let me take care of that noise. Maybe I'll start over entirely. I'm getting tired. I need some food. That'll cycle off. I think we heard it all right in the last video. I tried to listen to it, but okay, this is what we're looking at here. That is a very tight fit. Boy, I wish there was a way I could balance this. Let's see if I can get one hand free here. Okay, see how tight that is? Okay. Ugh. I mean, there is... I got it on the tripod. Boy, hire the old and the handicapped. They're fun to entertain, but you're not going to have a lot of room. And this is why you're doing it all by hand. See how the back portion here? It looks like it's touching, but it's close. And that's what I had to do, is I just had to keep trying it and file a little bit more and file a little bit more. And you'll see all along here on the 90, I went ahead and filed that down. Just put it in the vise, did it by hand, did it slow. I'm not sacrificing the integrity of the fitting at all. And if you've got a small rounded burr and you're real careful, you can actually go down inside that 90 street L and enlarge that a little bit, help it. Because that's your oil, and it's flowing into the case. So just keep all that in mind. You don't want to slam it into a dead end. If you can radius the bottom of that thing. Okay, see how this is? It's coming out. And I did use a little bit of oil, and I did have to touch up the threads with the tap. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm learning. I'm learning all this camera angle stuff. I never thought I'd be doing this, but yeah, it doesn't look, you know, real sharp and clean like your normal steel threads. But believe me, you put a little bit of Loctite on that 90, and it threads in real nice. Let me move that back. Readjust the camera here. Boy. Find the engine. But and another thing I had to do too, I didn't like the way it was starting. A lot of times when you're starting something threaded, just start turning it backwards. And you'll feel where that first, right there, okay, see how it dropped in, and then you know that you're in the thread track, and you can tighten it down. And that's nice. I've got about 3 threads just by hand with no effort at all. So as I go in, and I may have to trim that a little bit, then and I'll put some. I'm not a big fan of red Loctite. I'll probably put some blue stuff, or I've got this other stuff made by the Loctite company. That's it's not silicone, but it's a soft set thread sealer, gasket seal. So okay, that's what you got to do there. And let me get this back out of the way. Looks like the frog hasn't even moved. He's just sitting there getting warmed up again. Okay. Now see if I can keep from unclogging the cord here. I might just go over there and see if I can pull that engine towards you. My cord's not long enough. This engine was sitting there the whole time, and it already had it done. And I took the piece of tin off, and you can see how this one turned out. I did that one not too long ago. No leaks, no problems, and looked real good. And there's a setup. You've got the plate. That's where it comes out on the oil pump. You'll have to get yourself an adapter plate. This one happens to be a Gene Berg with a relief spring in them. Most of them don't have that. Most of them are just a plate with the port on the left side, 3/8 pipe, and I've got it capped now because I'm using the hoses on the on Valerie, the 66 Bug, and that's how that works. But you can see it's just the same cobbled up thing there. If you order the case, they've got CNC machine tools, and they do it, just like everything else. They do a little bit nicer job because they got the tools to do it. But who cares? And when you're on vacation 1,200 miles from home and you have to do stuff, you got to figure out a way. And you can do stuff at home and save a lot of money. Sometimes you you create yourself a lot of grief as well. But anyhow, enough of the lecturing here. We're going to get you up top here, and I'm going to show you again what I want to do to this oil pump. Okay, maybe I should have left it in there. Boy. Okay, now get something to point with. Grab a screwdriver. Okay, this is the outlet side of the pump, and we have our plug in there. And all you want to do is make sure that the plug goes down below the surface so you can push it into the radius. That blocks the outlet. Okay. Now the inlet is bigger than the outlet. It's on the lower right hand side, about 4 o'clock, and you can look into the pump where the gears sit. And when you look inside, you'll see that all they did is they just machined a hole. They put the hole in. They did the outside machining in the casting. So what we're going to do is take the time to enlarge this hole, and we're going to follow it out. We're just going to radius that corner. We're not going to disturb the inlet or the size of the inlet, but right here by the gear, the pump gear, we're gonna radius that out a little bit. And I got that tip from How to Hot Rod Volkswagen's that book. It's an old book. You'll see it around. I think it's still in print for all I know. Now, Can you look over my shoulder while I'm doing this? Okay. Now we're just going to take it easy. I got a dustpan in there, and I've got a drill. I've just got a burr on the end of it. This is a rotary file. That aluminum is soft. You don't want to over tighten it in the vise here or whatever you're using. I've got some aluminum jaw protectors in there, homemade, and we're gonna give ourselves some light, and we're gonna get after this thing and see what we can do here. Now, if these old eyes can do it, you sure can. Alright, so just gonna go a nice medium speed. I'm gonna do it dry. I'm not going in too deep. Don't get in a hurry. Check your work often. Watch your eyes. Give it a look. We're doing good. How you doing back there? Alright, now I suppose we should talk about why the heck I'm bothering even doing this for just a little 1600 engine or 1776 project engine. This is the kind of stuff that that racers do. You know, when you're racing in a certain class and you've got restrictions and rules that you got to follow, you know, the only thing left to do is either cheat or do all the little finer things. And this is what they call blueprinting. When the designer and the engineer, when they set out to build a building or build something or manufacture something, they've got to consider cost, productivity, and, you know, out the door competitive price. So they don't take the time for this, and they're just going to do what they need to. Now sometimes they overbuild it, and it's all good, but I just want to do the job the best I can now. See inside there where I just took a little bit of the edge off of it? That's just, if you're a pipe fitter or a designer or somebody that works with fluids, they always talk in these two terms. They'll say head and feet. And the head pressure is the amount of lift that you've got to have for a pump or something like that, and the feet is how far that it's got to go down the line. And every 90-degree turn, every T, every fitting that's in there, when they're sizing a pump or designing a system, they've got to take into consideration the pressure loss. Now here's something I see right off the bat. When they assembled this, they put that index dot on the wrong side. They put this shaft in the gear the wrong way. This came from the factory. That should be on the other side. But I don't know that I'm really going to bother changing it. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to feel it. We always talk about feeling our way along. The equipment talks to you. Okay, So when you're turning it, okay, that was a little tight spot. That might have been dirt, and there's not much lubrication in there. But let's take a look down inside here. Okay, see what I'm talking about? If we would have left it alone, it probably would have worked fine. But what we did is we radiused that edge here. We just gave it a little, made it a little easier for that oil, because this is the low pressure suction side of the pump, and we made it a little easier for that oil to make that turn, fill up the back side of these gears, and it's going to get pushed out the front. Over here, this is the high pressure area, this is the low pressure area, and here's where your clearance is, as it wears out, that's where you gain clearance. And if you get debris that gets sucked up from your pump, that's where it's going to scratch that. If you get deep scratches and gouges in there, you're going to start losing oil pressure. And that outside edge, I think we already covered this once, but I always put my gaskets on dry. I've taken apart so many engines that had silicone, and they put all manner of things in there to keep it from leaking. But the idea of this groove around here and that little line, that is to any oil that starts coming out, that's a low pressure area, it should pull it back and go back into the suction side of the pump. And that's what that's all about. So let's see, what else have we got to cover here? Got some other videos. Now I just took my time on that cut in the case. I can't stress that enough. Go slow, double check, triple check, and keep watching it. And have you guys seen these new oil relief plugs for the bottom? I did this on my last engine, and I really like it. Boy, these things are slick. The stock ones, I don't know if I have one handy here, are just screwdriver slots for your relief plug. But somebody finally got it together here, and they came up with a hex head. Your oil relief spring goes on the bottom of that, and you can put it on the end of your 1/4-inch drive extension, and on a dual relief case you've got one in the back and one in the front. And those are pretty neat, and they were cheap too. Just a few bucks, $5 or something like that. I couldn't believe it. I think they feel like they're made out of steel. Let's see, I don't have a, of course I don't have a spring handy to show you. I just saw this sitting on the bench, and it made me want to tell you. So I'm just trying to share what I'm doing here, and we're getting parts together for the 1776 build. These are my my heads. They've been cut out for the 90.5, and I want to talk about the spark plugs, and I think this is as good a time as any on this section right here. One thing, if you're going to reuse a set of used heads, when you take your heads off, you know, look around here. If you've got carbon buildup and a lot of oil that was leaking, you can see where these had been leaking, but it's not burned from the carbon. And this is the sealing surface right on this outside edge for your cylinder barrels when they go up against that. So you want to look at all of these and make sure that there's nothing leaking by, because when you bolt this back together on a fresh rebuild, if you've got a bad spot there, it's going to leak by, and not good for the engine, causes that cylinder to run lean, you lose power, and all in all, it's just not a good thing. And I want to talk about in another video about reading plugs and the different kinds of plugs, and why, who, what, when, where, and why. Maybe how to clean some threads on them, so be watching for that one. And if you like this video, be sure and check out my channel page. I'm trying to put these vids in a playlist so it makes some sort of sense and a logical order that we're doing it. And we'll just cruise through this, and we'll do it on our own, and have ourselves a nice little mild everyday driver here. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for being you, and come back often. Later.